Well, hello there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of KaiserReich. We are, of course, waiting and, well, I guess waiting, but not exactly happy about the possibility of a war with the Reds, of course. It's either going to be with the Russians or the French. I want to apologize to everybody. I am a little sick, so if my voice sounds a bit off, you guys can understand why. We're going to go ahead and just get started here. We're going at a very fast speed just because I want to get this war started. I've already gone ahead and added our heavy tank divisions to our light tanks. This way, of course, we're going to have basically a stronger tank army, but really, we can't make any assumptions yet. A lot of things are happening. One thing I want to do here is take this... Oh, never mind. This infantry division is already part of Erwin Rommel's 2nd Army, and I'm actually just going to send it there to the border to kind of hang out. But we are, of course, creating a new army, completely separate from the rest, and I don't know how long it's going to take to create, but we're definitely in the process of doing that. I'm also going to focus on maybe not the decimetric radar. I'd love to focus on atomic research, but I'm guessing that's probably not the best idea. So maybe we'll start finally focusing on battlefield support for our aircraft, of course. We're not in a war yet, but pretty likely that we soon will be. So let's go ahead and get started. Another thing somebody asked, and I want to check, was whether or not we had our Chinese contacts in our actual faction. I did think we did have them. I thought we had them, I should say, but I guess we don't. So I'm going to see if we can invite to faction. Unfortunately, it looks here that there is something stopping us from inviting to faction, and I think, it's the world tension. The only way to actually get the German corporations in China to join us is for world tension to be at 80%, so that's going to take quite a while. I'm going to look at other areas where maybe we could get some friends. The Swiss, I doubt it. The Austrians, unlikely. And actually, the Austrians have, they started a war with the Italian Federation, and they installed this fellow here, Joseph von Osterreich. Now, somebody did suggest trying to go to Finland, actually, and see if they would join us, because apparently they are related to us. But once again, if you guys take a look here, it's just not going to happen. The relations aren't very good, and even if they were, we really need to get that tension up. Right now, nobody wants to join Germany because we're probably on the precipice of a great Second World War. And of course, this Second World War would be a lot bloodier than the Second World War that we all know and love. I hate to say know and love, but that's just the way I like to put it. A lot of people on this channel do love hearing about World War II, myself included, as awful as it may be. So right now, we're just waiting for something to pop off. Obviously, we want to keep researching, and one of the things that we were going to research is actually, I believe, anti-French tendencies. I'm going to take a look at specifically what that ideology is called. And over here, of course, we want to keep focusing on that concentrated industry, although I think I'm going to focus on construction. Going to increase our factory repair speed. And let's take a look over here. We just unlocked another modify government tab, but I might wait for that until we get something to basically allow us to go ahead and improve our military. So I'm going to take a quick look here, and I want to see how much it's going to take us to move limited conscription to extensive conscription. So I don't know what's happening here. Probably the reason it's not happening is we're not at war. We could, of course, add to one of our factories or even add to our military staff here. But I'm going to let you guys decide if you think we should. Right now, I'm going to keep that totally unlocked and try to get up to 300 political power, which I think is going to be a lot more valuable. And we're going to be able to use a lot more. By the way, don't you guys like the Kaiser in the little Santa hat? I think it's a bit late for that, but, you know, we'll accept it. Apparently also, and I didn't know this, well, Hans Vogel just died, leader of the SPD. And the SPD is this party right here, the Social Democrats. So now, of course, Wilhelm Hartmann is going to be taking over that party. We also got the contracts with Mauser, and I didn't know this, but apparently Belgium is on our side. If we take a look over here, the Belgians are part of our faction, which is pretty cool. I'm also going to take a look at the Dutch. I'd love to bring them in, but it just looks like these market liberals are interested only in business, not necessarily interested in joining the Great Reich. So what can we do, right? If we take a look over here, guys, this is what I was talking about. We actually have the maneuvers in Alsace-Lothringen, which would probably really increase our political power, but would also really piss off the French. I'm actually going to see if we could do the Kaiserbund project, and sadly we cannot. The Krupp projects would also not be a terrible idea. Although getting to the Kaiser Wilhelm Society would allow us to really start researching something else which would help us a lot, I would think. But we could also just keep focusing on military reform, which also is probably not such a bad idea. And also, this is great. This is going to add finally to our recruitable population, 5%, the militaristic revival. I think that's what we want to go for. It doesn't sound like a lot, just 5%, but I think that's a huge amount, all things considered. Right now, our manpower is dropping dramatically, although it's always dropping and rising in the Reich. There's really not very much we can do. Potential increase in stability. With our political power gains, we have the chance to improve our stability. Shall we do it? If I take a look over here, our national unity is fine. Let's take a look, of course. This would increase factory output and national unity, or we don't need that. I'm thinking we probably don't need that. We've got quite a lot of national unity. It's never bad to increase that, but really I think our main focus should be just increasing our military power. And right now, we could probably actually drop a few of these armies out here, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and drop, and we're going to keep building some Infantry Division. Put them over here in North Germany. And we'll go ahead and add a unit as well. We'll also go ahead and train some more Guard Infantry Division. Now, we haven't done much with these guys. Actually, let's get the Meat Artillery, because these guys we've actually added to. So I'm going to go ahead and train some of them. Put the location over here in Franken. Doesn't sound like a very friendly place, honestly, considering the French hate us right now, but I do believe that that part is actually German. I think the only part that's French is Metz, Luxembourg, Strasbourg, this area right here, this tiny patch, and maybe not even that, to be honest with you. No, Siri, you can't help me at all. I just have my phone on. I always like to time the episodes, and Siri just decided to think that I was asking it a question. Incorrect, Siri, incorrect. No, you don't need any questions. Okay, so right now, guys, we are speeding through trying to get that military reform. And of course, so far, nothing has popped off. A lot of people said that things would start popping off very, very soon, and they're probably correct. And there we go, the Treaty of Miami. It looks like the United States managed to beat the southeastern U.S. Let's take a look. Let me take a look over here, and that would be amazing. Yes, they did. Wow. So the American alliance has taken over all of the U.S. under General MacArthur, and God bless him for it. I mean, that's some pretty awesome political maneuvering there by Douglas MacArthur there, leader of the authoritarian Democrats. So, von Bernstorff died, the former ambassador to the USA and Ottoman Empire and former state secretary for the Interior, Johann von Bernstorff, has died today, and that is unfortunate because I'd actually love to have the Americans on our side. I don't think they would ever join our faction, unfortunately, but it's always good to keep them on fairly good terms, I like to think, anyway. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And nope, we're not touching that Modify Government tab. Although, once again, if anybody has any suggestions, we could certainly consider them. So there we go. They've declared war on the American Union states, which are to the east, although I think they've pretty much crushed all opposition in the U.S. Okay, it looks like our Belgian allies are also not too keen on having the French on their border. And no, we're not going to increase stability, but what I am going to do, don't need that, I'm going to take Crown Prince Wilhelm's army, I'm going to select them, and we're going to put them, if we can, only if we can, on the border of Belgium. So here we go, right on the Belgian border. It's going to be a really tight fit, but I think it's going to work out just fine. So there we go. We are moving them away from the Russian border, so I'm definitely hoping that the Russians don't get wise to our tactics and don't start considering an attack, of course. Somebody mentioned attacking Russia would be a good idea because we could put the Tsar back in power. And that's probably very, very true. Putting the Tsar back in power is definitely something on our list. Obviously, he is related to us, to the Germans, and to the German royal family, but we're not in a position to be messing around with that right this second. Okay, I'm going to get that pack gun. And of course, there's a lot of different things we could be building. But my main concern are building military factories. So I do hope that we can avoid the civilian factory and go ahead and build the military one. And that is one weird thing here. As you can see, the civilian factory tab disappeared. So I'm not sure if that allows us to build whatever factory we want. But if that's the case, we probably should have been building military factories this entire time. We're not really running low on supplies. I'm not sure if that's because of the synthetic oil refineries we've placed around the country. But it's just not an issue that we faced very much. Now, there we go. The free civilian factories are back. So I'm going to go ahead and drop one. We'll put it over here in Moosland. Try to make the French a little bit happier. I'm actually imagining that everything to the west here of the river is probably French territory, or at least has a French minority within it. So we do need to be careful. As far as I know, I'm not sure if you guys know, this is not like Victoria 2 where you can actually see the different population, like the different amount of population. That would be really great. And there we go, the Militarist revival, and look at that, guys, unbelievable. Our manpower jumped from 325,000 to 4.88 million. That is just absolutely amazing, and really gives me some new, I guess, hope that we can actually do pretty damn well here. Military reform is probably a good idea, so we're going to go ahead and focus on the military reform, but that is amazing. Moving that actual manpower up is really great. Unfortunately, if you take a look at military experience or army experience, even with our exercises, etc., it's just not going up very quickly, and usually that goes up with a war. The best way to get military experience is to fight on the battlefield. So until we go to war, I don't see that increasing all that significantly. Okay, our popularity is rising once again. I don't really need that political power, so we're going to say we don't need this. I mean, if we take a look at the political power, we are just constantly gaining power with the DKP. Doesn't look to be a party that will really ever be taken out of power, unless by some miracle the Zentrum Party, the social conservatives, gain a large popularity of voting, but it just doesn't look like it's happening. The daily change is 0%. And actually the daily change for the DKP is also 0%. Basically, these parties are staying pretty stable and not really moving too much, which helps us quite a bit. If we take a look over here, once again, guys, if somebody has any ideas on the Modify Government tab, just put that in the comments down below, and we will definitely consider it. And really just any ideas on what to do next as is. I'm not going to listen to people telling me to attack Russia. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. If they attack us, yeah, we'll of course go to war with them. But right now, I think the main focus should be France. Even if we attack France, they're going to get support from the Union of Britain, and that could be a serious problem. Now, trying to get the Irish on our side would be a cool idea, but once again, they wouldn't even consider joining us until we get, obviously, the world tension up, and obviously we need to really increase our relations, which could take quite a while. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share on Twitter, and obviously remember I am ill, so if I sound my voice sounds a little messed up, then you guys understand why. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, and have an awesome, awesome day.